Every day, people tell themselves they are trying. They say it with pride, as if trying alone is enough to create change. But here's the truth: trying is not doing. Trying is planning, hoping, hesitating. Doing is action. Doing is commitment. Doing is stepping into discomfort and taking responsibility for results. When you try, you leave room for excuses. You leave room for failure to be someone else's fault. You leave room for the dream to remain just a dream. But when you do, you remove doubt, hesitation, and the endless cycle of what ifs. Doing is decisive. Doing is bold. Doing is the only way to win. Winning doesn't start with effort. It starts with action. You can read every book, watch every tutorial, and strategize endlessly, but none of that matters until you act. And when you act, you learn, you adjust, you grow, you transform. Action turns ideas into results, and results are the currency of success. To move from trying to doing, you must embrace three things. First, clarity. Know exactly what you want to achieve and why. Without clarity, action is scattered and weak. Second, consistency. Results aren't born from occasional bursts. They are born from repeated deliberate actions. Third, courage. Action requires the courage to step into uncertainty, face failure, and keep moving forward. The moment you stop trying and start doing, everything changes. You discover that your limits were never real, they were imaginary. You find your strength in persistence, and you see that winning is not about luck. It's about decision, discipline, and relentless execution. The path is simple but not easy. Do not wait for motivation to strike. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. Start now, take control, and make the results inevitable. Stop talking about what you will do tomorrow. Stop telling yourself you are trying. Start doing today, because action is the only way to win, and winning belongs to those who commit fully, act decisively, and refuse to stop until the result is theirs. 5 keynotes of the speech: trying alone is not enough. Action is the key to achieving results. Doing removes doubt, hesitation, and excuses, while trying keeps you stagnant. Clear goals, consistent effort, and courage are essential to move from trying to doing. Results come from action, not knowledge, planning, or intention alone. Winning is a product of decisive action, discipline, and persistence, not luck or motivation. Trying alone is not enough. Action is the key to achieving results. We live in a world where people celebrate effort, where trying is worn like a badge of honor, but effort without follow-through is invisible. You can try all you want, but if trying doesn't turn into doing, it changes nothing. Trying is the intention, the hope, the plan, but doing is the execution, the movement, the transformation. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'm trying," and yet nothing has shifted in your life? You might have studied, planned, or prepared endlessly, but without action, the world doesn't notice. Results are indifferent to effort alone. Results respond only to what you actually do. The distinction between trying and doing is subtle but critical. Trying implies a possibility of failure, a cushion, a safety net. It allows you to feel productive without committing fully to the outcome. Doing, on the other hand, is commitment. Doing is taking ownership of your life and your results. When you do, there is no safety net. You step into responsibility and accept that the outcome, whether success or failure, is yours. Action forces accountability, and accountability forces growth. You cannot improve unless you actually put yourself in motion. You cannot achieve unless you actually execute. Many people stay stuck in trying because it is comfortable. Trying allows you to say, "I'm doing my best," even if your best doesn't produce results. It allows you to avoid judgment, criticism, or the discomfort that comes with taking real action. But the problem is that comfort is the enemy of progress. Trying is often an excuse in disguise. It's a way of giving yourself permission to remain in the same place while convincing yourself that you're moving forward. True transformation, however, requires action. Real progress comes when you stop making excuses and start producing tangible outcomes. Action is not about perfection. Many people hesitate to do because they want the conditions to be perfect. They want the timing, the resources, and the knowledge to all align before they take the first step. But waiting for perfection is the same as never moving at all. Action is about starting now, learning as you go, adjusting as needed, and refusing to let fear or doubt paralyze you. Doing allows you to test, to experiment, to discover what works and what doesn't. Trying only theorizes, doing materializes, and it is through materialization that learning accelerates, skills develop, and results emerge. Action also creates momentum. When you try, your energy is scattered and unfocused. You may have good intentions, but without movement, those intentions dissipate. Doing, however, generates a chain reaction. Once you act, small wins accumulate, confidence grows, skills sharpen, opportunities appear, action attracts progress. You learn faster, you adapt faster, and you move closer to your goals with each step. Trying alone cannot create momentum because it is static, doing is kinetic. It is the force that propels you forward. Finally, action is how you influence the world. Ideas, plans, and intentions are meaningless unless they are expressed through doing. Businesses are built, relationships are strengthened, and dreams are realized only because someone decided to act. People who achieve extraordinary results don't sit around trying. They act decisively, consistently, and relentlessly. The difference between someone who achieves and someone who only dreams is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the willingness to do what others are only trying to do. Action transforms potential into reality. So if you want to stop feeling stuck, if you want to see real change in your life, stop glorifying trying. Trying is not a measure of success. Doing is. Start moving, start acting, start producing results. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory over inertia. Every decision to act is a vote for your future. The moment you replace trying with doing, your life changes. Results start to appear, progress accelerates, and winning becomes possible. Doing removes doubt, hesitation, and excuses, while trying keeps you stagnant. Every time you say you're trying, you give yourself permission to remain in the shadows of your own potential. Trying is a liminal space. It is neither success nor failure, but it feels like movement. You may feel busy, you may feel productive, but in reality, nothing significant changes unless you act. Doing, on the other hand, eliminates the gray area. When you commit to action, you leave doubt behind because action requires decisiveness. Hesitation has no place when you are fully engaged in execution. You either act or you do not. There is no halfway point. Excuses thrive in the world of trying. You can always justify why you haven't done something yet, why you haven't reached your goal, why the timing isn't perfect or the circumstances aren't ideal. Trying allows these excuses to exist without consequence. But action dismantles excuses because results speak for themselves. Action doesn't ask for permission. Action doesn't wait for validation. When you act, you produce evidence of your commitment, evidence that cannot be ignored. The moment you do, doubt loses its power, hesitation disappears, and excuses crumble under the weight of tangible results. Hesitation is one of the greatest enemies of progress. When you try, you often hesitate. You second guess yourself. You overthink. You wait for signals, signs, or approval. But hesitation is wasted energy. Every moment you delay, opportunity slips away. Every pause in action is a pause in growth. Doing forces you out of hesitation because it demands engagement. Action requires you to step forward, to take risks, to face uncertainty. And when you confront uncertainty head on, you learn that hesitation is usually unnecessary. You discover that fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal to act despite discomfort. Doing also provides clarity that trying cannot. When you act, you receive feedback immediately. You learn what works, what doesn't, and where to adjust. Trying is theoretical, doing is empirical. The only way to refine your approach, strengthen your skills, and improve your strategies through actual execution. Each action gives you data, insight, and experience. Each decision to move forward removes ambiguity. Every time you act, you replace questions with answers, uncertainty with knowledge, and doubt with confidence. Trying leaves you guessing, doing gives you certainty. Excuses often masquerade as reasons, but doing exposes them for what they are. When you commit to action, you see clearly which obstacles are real and which are imagined. You recognize that most limitations are self-imposed, that most barriers exist only because you haven't acted decisively to overcome them. Doing empowers you to take responsibility for your results. You realize that no one else controls your success, your actions do. You understand that blaming circumstances or waiting for perfect conditions is a form of inaction disguised as trying. Momentum grows through action, not through intention. Trying can keep you mentally busy, but it does not generate movement in the real world. Doing produces momentum because every action builds on the last. When you take consistent steps, you create a forward motion that compounds over time. One completed task leads to another. One small victory fuels the next. Doubt and hesitation cannot survive in the presence of momentum because progress itself silences them. The more you act, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the easier it is to act again. Action transforms mindset as much as it transforms circumstances. When you move from trying to doing, your self-perception changes. You no longer see yourself as someone who attempts and fails. You see yourself as someone capable of producing, capable of winning. Your identity shifts from I'm trying to I am doing, and this simple shift carries enormous power. People begin to notice your results. Opportunities begin to appear because doing attracts attention. Action becomes a magnet for success, while trying keeps you invisible, stagnant, and unknown. Ultimately, doing is the bridge between desire and achievement. Trying keeps you on one side of the gap, hoping to reach the other. Doing allows you to step across, one deliberate action at a time. The doubts that haunted you, the hesitation that paralyzed you, and the excuses that held you back all vanish in the face of decisive action. Doing is what transforms potential into performance. Doing is what turns ideas into impact. Doing is what allows you to stop merely dreaming and start producing. Clear goals, consistent effort, and courage are essential to move from trying to doing. Many people fail to achieve their potential not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they never define what success truly looks like. Without clarity, action becomes scattered, directionless, and ineffective. When you know exactly what you want, every decision, every effort, and every action aligns with that vision. Clarity provides focus. It eliminates confusion. It allows you to prioritize what matters most and ignore distractions that only consume energy without producing results. When your goal is defined, doing becomes purposeful rather than random, and every action contributes to measurable progress. Consistency is the engine that converts small actions into significant results. One-time efforts rarely create lasting impact. Trying once or twice may make you feel like you are making progress, but without repetition, growth is temporary and momentum is lost. Consistent action compounds over time. Each day you show up, each step you take, each task you complete builds on the previous one, creating a chain of progress that eventually produces extraordinary results. Consistency is what turns ordinary people into achievers because it is not brilliance or inspiration alone that leads to success. It is the relentless commitment to keep moving forward even when motivation fades. Courage is the force that allows action to happen in the first place. Taking consistent steps toward a goal requires courage because action almost always involves uncertainty, risk, and discomfort. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, and the fear of the unknown can paralyze even the most capable individuals. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite fear. Courage allows you to step into situations where the outcome is uncertain, to take calculated risks, and to confront challenges head on. Without courage, clarity and consistency are meaningless because fear will keep you frozen, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Clarity, consistency, and courage are not independent forces. They reinforce one another. When your goals are clear, your actions are more deliberate and your courage is strengthened because you understand the value of what you are pursuing. When you act consistently, you build confidence, which reduces doubt and strengthens your courage. Each small success achieved through consistent action validates your direction, making clarity sharper and courage easier to summon. And courage, in turn, allows you to persist in your efforts even when obstacles arise, ensuring that consistency is maintained and clarity is never abandoned. The absence of any of these three elements, clarity, consistency, or courage, creates friction that slows progress. Without clarity, you expend energy in multiple directions and never arrive anywhere. Without consistency, you lose momentum and effort dissipates without creating results. Without courage, fear dictates your choices and you remain in the cycle of trying without ever doing. The combination of all three transforms your efforts from tentative attempts into decisive, productive action. It is the foundation of achievement, the framework that allows ordinary actions to produce extraordinary outcomes. Applying these principles requires self-awareness and deliberate effort. You must ask yourself what truly matters, what you want to create, and what kind of results you are willing to pursue relentlessly. You must commit to taking daily action toward your goal, even when progress feels slow or the work seems difficult. And you must confront the fears and doubts that arise along the way, knowing that courage is cultivated through practice, not through wishful thinking. Each day you reinforce the habit of acting with clarity, persistence, and bravery, and each day you move closer to the results you desire. Action guided by these principles also influences others around you. When people see someone acting with purpose, consistency, and courage, they are inspired, motivated, and drawn toward that energy. Leaders, innovators, and high achievers are recognized not just for what they accomplish, but for the way they act decisively and persistently in the face of challenge. Your commitment becomes contagious, encouraging others to elevate their own efforts. The ripple effect of doing with clarity, consistency, and courage extends beyond personal achievement. It shapes environments, communities, and cultures of action. Ultimately, clarity defines your destination, consistency fuels your journey, and courage propels you forward despite obstacles. Trying without these elements is like attempting to sail a ship without a compass, without wind, and without the courage to leave the harbor. Doing with these elements is what ensures that your actions produce measurable, lasting results. It is what transforms ideas into reality, dreams into achievements, and intention into impact. Clarity, consistency, and courage are not optional, they are essential. They are the pillars that convert mere effort into unstoppable action and action into winning. Results come from action, not knowledge, planning, or intention alone. Many people fall into the trap of believing that if they know enough or plan well enough, success will follow automatically. They spend hours researching, strategizing, and imagining outcomes, thinking that knowledge or preparation alone is sufficient. But knowledge without execution is inertia. Planning without doing is a blueprint that never becomes a building. Intention without action is a wish that will never materialize. The world does not reward ideas, potential, or good intentions. It rewards results, and results are only created through action. Too often, we overestimate what we can achieve through preparation and underestimate the power of consistent doing. We believe that learning more, thinking longer, or waiting for perfect timing will somehow replace the need to act. But real-world progress does not come from knowledge alone. It comes from applying that knowledge, from testing theories in practice, from putting plans into motion. Every successful person you admire has reached their position not simply because they knew more than others, but because they acted decisively, applied what they learned, and adjusted based on results. Action transforms abstract understanding into tangible outcomes. Action also teaches lessons that no amount of planning can provide. When you execute, you face the unpredictable realities of life. Mistakes happen, obstacles appear, and unexpected challenges arise. These are opportunities to learn, adapt, and improve in ways that theoretical preparation cannot simulate. Knowledge and planning may give you confidence, but it is through action that skill is refined, resilience is built, and growth occurs. Without action, knowledge remains dormant and potential remains unfulfilled. The act of doing converts theory into practice, vision into results, and possibility into reality. One of the most common barriers to action is the fear of failure. Many people hesitate to act because they are afraid that things might not go perfectly. They wait for the ideal moment, the ideal resources, or the perfect level of readiness. But the truth is that no moment will ever be perfect. The conditions will never align flawlessly. Action requires embracing imperfection, taking calculated risks, and learning along the way. Every action taken, even if it leads to mistakes, is a step closer to achieving the results you desire. Waiting for perfection is a trap that keeps people stuck in a cycle of trying without ever doing. Action generates feedback that cannot be obtained through thinking alone. When you act, you see what works, what doesn't, and what needs to change. You gain real-world data that informs your next move, allowing you to adjust strategies and refine your approach. Planning can anticipate possibilities, but only action reveals the actual outcomes. Each decision, each step forward, produces insights that no amount of speculation can provide. Action is therefore both a means to an end and a teacher along the journey. Results are a natural consequence of applied knowledge, and action is the bridge that connects learning to achievement. Momentum is created through doing, not through planning. When you take consistent steps, progress compounds, confidence grows, and energy builds. The longer you act, the more opportunities appear, the more relationships strengthen, and the more doors open. Knowledge and planning are static. They exist only in your mind, but action is kinetic. It propels you forward, transforms effort into measurable progress, and produces results that knowledge alone cannot. The more you act, the more capable you become, and the easier it is to continue acting. Momentum is the reward of consistent doing, and it is essential for achieving meaningful outcomes. Finally, action is how intentions are translated into impact. You may have the best ideas, the clearest goals, and the most detailed plans, but unless you act, none of it matters in the real world. Results do not come from thinking about what could be. They come from actually creating, producing, and delivering. Action turns concepts into products, plans into achievements, and potential into influence. Without action, knowledge and planning remain inert. With action, even small steps accumulate into significant results. Doing is the engine that drives progress, and results are the natural outcome of that engine in motion. In the end, understanding this principle changes everything. You realize that time spent waiting, overanalyzing, or perfecting plans without actions wasted. Real growth, achievement, and success are produced by what you do, not what you know. Knowledge, planning, and intention are valuable only when they are coupled with action. To stop merely trying and start winning, you must act decisively, consistently, and boldly. Action is the currency of results, and results are the measure of your impact in the world. Winning is a product of decisive action, discipline, and persistence, not luck or motivation. Many people believe that success is something that happens to the fortunate, that it arrives as a result of perfect timing, natural talent, or a random opportunity. While circumstances can influence outcomes, the reality is that winning is earned through action, not chance. Action is decisive when it is intentional and unwavering. It is not hesitant, it is not conditional, and it is not dependent on external approval. To win, you must commit fully, make decisions confidently, and follow through relentlessly, even when the path is unclear. Discipline is what transforms action into consistent results. Motivation comes, but discipline persists. You may feel inspired one day and unmotivated the next, but disciplined action is steady regardless of emotion or circumstance. Discipline is showing up even when you do not feel like it, completing the tasks that others avoid, and maintaining standards that others are willing to compromise. Winning is rarely achieved by bursts of effort. It is the result of sustained, deliberate practice and execution over time. Every small, disciplined step compounds to create progress that is undeniable and irreversible. Persistence is the second pillar that separates those who achieve from those who only dream. The journey toward meaningful goals is never smooth. Challenges arise, setbacks occur, and failures test your resolve. Without persistence, even the clearest action plan and strongest discipline can falter. Persistence allows you to keep moving forward despite obstacles, to adapt without giving up, and to learn from failure rather than being defeated by it. Those who win are not necessarily the most talented or the smartest. They are the ones who refuse to quit, who endure, and who continuously push forward when others would stop. Persistence transforms struggle into growth and adversity into advantage. Winning also requires a mindset that embraces responsibility. To act decisively, maintain discipline, and persist through difficulty, you must accept that your results are your responsibility. Excuses, blaming circumstances, or waiting for someone else to solve your problems will never lead to victory. Winners understand that they control their actions, their responses, and ultimately their outcomes. They do not rely on luck or external validation. They focus on what they can influence, and they act boldly to shape their own reality. Responsibility empowers action, strengthens discipline, and fuels persistence because it places control in your hands. Decisive action, discipline, and persistence are interconnected. Without decisiveness, action is tentative and diluted. Without discipline, even decisive action lacks consistency. Without persistence, setbacks halt progress and undermine effort. When combined, these qualities create a force that moves beyond intention or luck. They create momentum that is self-sustaining. Each decisive step reinforces discipline. Each disciplined action strengthens persistence, and each persistent effort builds confidence for the next decision. This synergy is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Another critical aspect of winning is the willingness to embrace discomfort. Action, discipline, and persistence often require stepping outside your comfort zone. Winning is not found in the familiar, safe, or easy. It is found in situations that challenge you, stretch your abilities, and force you to grow. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Discipline enables you to push through when motivation fades. Persistence enables you to endure when the journey is difficult. And decisive action enables you to confront challenges head on instead of avoiding them. Every time you choose action over ease, you move closer to victory. Winning is measurable through results, not effort or intention. You can try endlessly, plan meticulously, and hope constantly, but none of that guarantees success. Results are earned through action that is deliberate, disciplined, and persistent. Every victory, whether small or large, is the outcome of repeated choices to act, maintain standards, and endure obstacles. Those who win consistently understand that each step is a building block, each challenge is a test, and each decision is an opportunity to create impact. Ultimately, winning belongs to those who decide to act, commit to discipline, and persist regardless of circumstance. It is not a gift from chance or a product of waiting for motivation to strike. It is earned through intentional, consistent effort and the courage to continue when others falter. When you internalize this principle, your perspective shifts. You stop relying on luck, stop waiting for perfect conditions, and stop being satisfied with trying alone. You take control of your results, step into action, and refuse to stop until your goals are achieved. Winning is not accidental. It is the natural outcome of relentless doing. In the end, the difference between trying and truly winning comes down to action. Trying is a starting point, but doing is what creates transformation. When you move beyond hesitation, excuses, and doubt, and commit fully to decisive action, you unlock your potential. Clarity gives direction, consistency builds momentum, courage fuels perseverance, and disciplined, persistent effort produces tangible results. Knowledge, planning, and intention only matter when they are applied through action. Winning is not reserved for the lucky, the talented, or the motivated. It belongs to those who refuse to wait, who step forward with determination, and who persist until the result is theirs. So stop merely trying, stop planning without execution, stop waiting for the perfect moment, start acting, start committing, start building momentum today. Every choice you make, every step you take, and every action you execute moves you closer to the life you want. The power to win has always been in your hands. It has only been waiting for you to act. Do not leave it waiting any longer. Take control, act decisively, and make winning inevitable.